It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the USA Marine Merchants head women's soccer coach, Carlos Mendes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into coaching college women's soccer?
Well, I think I've had experience at all different levels. When I first retired from playing, I got into the professional level, and that was a great experience. But then I had the opportunity to be assistant coach here in New York at the college level, and I fell in love with the college game, and obviously working with younger, student athletes and kind of being a mentor in all aspects. So, I fell in love with the college game. I wanted to kind of stay in that area. And then when this opportunity presented itself, I jumped on it immediately.
What was it like, obviously, playing college soccer for Old Dominion?
Great experience. I mean, I think I'm matured a lot as an individual. I had a chance to get a great education. Had a great connection with my coach, Coach Dawson. That's still there. My class was one of his first recruiting classes, so we kind of got on the map together there, and it's just a great experience. Obviously, a very good team in terms of education. So I enjoyed every minute. And again, I think for me, it was part of I went away from home. It was about a 7-hour drive, and I think that helped me kind of, even though I was homesick, mature in so many ways, and kind of helped me for my future, my future pathway.
How was it like, obviously, getting to put on that Old Dominion soccer jersey?
It meant a lot. I took pride in it. Representing a university, playing for college means a lot. And I was kind of raised on the values of hard work and commitment. And I felt a huge commitment to the program. So it was definitely an honor.
Of course, what was that like, obviously, going to Old Dominion, putting on that soccer jersey, and what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
Yeah, like I said, I think it was a huge honor. I was CAA Rookie of the Year. I remember one of the great memories I had was one of our first home games there my freshman year. We had the Steel Tournament, which is kind of a big tournament for Old Dominion University. A couple of teams come on campus, and it was the first time my parents, they drove down to watch me play in college, and I'd scored a couple of goals and just had great memories. And obviously that was kind of the start of it, but overall, just my 4 years, had a great experience on and off the field, and I'm very grateful for it.
How was that feeling like when you got inducted into the Hall of Fame for Old Dominion as a soccer player?
A surprise, a huge honor. Obviously, like I said, it's a great university, a lot of great players, a lot of great athletes, competing at the Division I level. So, like I said, it meant a lot to me, and I think it was special, especially because Coach Dawson, again, when he had kind of come in, we were first recruiting class, so it meant a lot for us to succeed and do well, and he was a big part of that. So I'm grateful for the staff there, not just coach, but the staff that spent 4 years with me and developed me, as a player and a person, and that was a great opportunity.
Chris, leaving Old Dominion, what was that like, obviously getting into professional soccer, playing for the Long Island Riders?
Yeah, it was it was a dream come true. I didn't know, in college or even senior year if I was definitely going to play professionally. Obviously, something that I was kind of working towards, and an ultimate goal. I think everybody, if you get that opportunity, you want to try to take it. But I didn't know right away coming out, so it meant a lot for me to kind of come back home. I'd grown up watching the Long Island Rough Riders. My club team coaches, my youth coaches here, Court Weinstein on Long Island, and Coach Gio Savarese, they all played for the Rough Riders. So that was my first experience watching the game, watching professional soccer. It was a great club. So for me to come back home and kind of represent that first, put on that jersey, know the history of the Long Island Rough Riders, and then, my career kind of took off from there. So it was very special. It meant a lot for me to come back home and kind of start from the ground up.
What was that like, obviously not just playing for Long Island, but also playing for Ricochets,
I'm sorry, playing for who?
the Rhiners?
The Rochester?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was after I won a championship with the Rough Riders. The Rochester Rhinos were in the kind of in the A League at the time, a very very big club with a good fan base. So I had the opportunity to go up, and I played 2 years there. I loved every moment of it. It really was it was a pretty big stage. They had been very successful. A lot of great players, a lot of experience that I learned from players like Craig Demon and Scott and so many more. But again, that was kind of the start of my career. But at the same time, I was playing under great coaches, great players, and they kind of helped me grow my game and obviously understand the mentality and what it takes to be a successful professional. If you're going to be, if you're going to have a long career and be consistent, that's very important. So those early years from the Long Island Rough Riders to the Rochester Rhinos were a huge part that helped mold me.
What was it like, obviously, after your professional playing career, getting into coaching and getting into professional coaching at first?
Yeah, it was. I knew, so towards the end of my playing career, the last couple of years, I knew I wanted to get into coaching 100%. And, I wanted to be around the game. It's been a part of my life since I've been about 4 years old. So but that last year when I was playing and after I retired, I wasn't sure what level I wanted to coach at. Obviously, coming out and after 15 years of playing professionally, that was a big decision. Or kind of I had to wait and see what kind of opportunities presented themselves. So I think having the professional experience at first was great. Coaching at a high level, learning and kind of working with great people, learning from your mistakes, building. It's very different being a player and a coach. Anyone will tell you that, and yet you could be have a successful playing career, but that doesn't mean it's going to translate into coaching. So it's a learning experience. I'm still learning every day. But to have that experience at a high level and kind of understand and then work under some great coaches with the college game was very important to me. And again, that's helping me. I got a long way to go as a coach, but it's been a good start.
What was that transition like from going from being a player to a coach?
It's a great one. It's an interesting one. You got to change it's a completely different mentality in a lot of ways. It's not just about yourself and your individual responsibility to be part of a team, but you have to look at the bigger picture. You have a lot of different personalities, players with strengths and weaknesses, and trying to understand that as you grow your coaching game. So it takes time. I think coaching. I think anyone will tell you who played and also coach. I think coaching is much more difficult, and again because there are a lot of moving parts. But I love it, and the games, having the game still be a part of my life, and that competitive side of it, and obviously at the Merchant Marine, we have an incredible base here that we're going to build off of, and then come out in fall and represent the academy is a huge honor.
What was that like, obviously getting to play for the Long Island, but also getting to coach for the Long Island?
Yeah, again, I think I've been very, very lucky that through even my playing career and now my coaching career, that I played a lot of that time home, and I've been coaching now in the area that I grew up, and that's a huge part of it. This, Long Island, New York, kind of helped shape me as a player, as a person, as a coach. So to have the roots, to have the connection, and now be here in New York coaching at the college level, it's very special to me.
Of course, what was that transition like
Again,
from?
it's really is. Sorry, from my family support, from my friends, the community in Long Island. So to be here means a lot to me.
What was that transition like from going from professional coaching to now coaching college and getting your first start at Queens?
Yeah, I think it's obviously different, at the professional level. It's a big business. There's the 100% of the focus is on the field, and the team doing well and being successful, and then when you kind of move into the college game, of course, that carries over where you put the pressure and, we have the expectation to win, but you're also a mentor off the field. You're making sure that academically they are successful and getting through the program. And that's very important. So I think, there's a lot more to the college game. You're trying to help them. You're trying to, help them decide their future, make sure that they have a positive experience playing a college sport, and that's the most important thing on top of winning.
How's that feeling like when you got your first head coaching job with the U.S. Marine Marcher?
Huge honor again. Very, very excited. I grew up on Long Island. I grew up about 20 minutes from campus. So, I had friends that I graduated with that are graduates of the Merchant Marine Academy. So although I did not attend, I knew the history and the tradition and the values here. So for me, when this opportunity opened up and to have a chance to, apply and be the head coach and really build something from the ground up, I knew I wanted to get on that, and obviously lucky to be here. But it really is an exciting time here at the academy for us, and obviously we need to be successful and put soccer on the map for women's soccer on the map for the Merchant Marine Academy.
Of course, what was that transition like from obviously playing men's soccer and coaching men's soccer to getting your first head coaching job as a women's coach?
No, I think there's a lot of I think the way you go about it is the same, and I've had experience coaching girls at the youth level, and obviously now to be part of the women's team here. But it's for me, it's the same mentality, the same. Everything's pretty much built up from the ground up, and you approach the game the same way. And again, I'm very, very lucky because I really do have an incredible base here. We have about 14 to 15 midshipmen that are soccer players that are interested in playing, and obviously we're building and recruiting for the future. But I think the approach and everything on and off the field is exactly the same.
What are some of the things that you've had the privilege to accomplish during your time
As a player,
as a coach for Marine Marcher?
This is a start. Obviously, I'm going to put the expectation to build this on myself, to build a successful program, to make sure that we recruit for the academy and get the right individuals that are going to succeed. Number one, academically, and understand what it takes to be successful here. That's the most important part of it, and then of course to make sure that they're going to fit our style of play, our mentality on the field, and be good teammates. So for me, that's the most important thing. So that's I'm going to put the expectation that we're going to win, that we're going to be competitive in the conference, and then hopefully make some noise in the big tournament. So that's our goal.
Who are some of the biggest teams that you face in your conference?
It's all around a competitive conference. I'd say Farmingdale's probably dominated and had the most titles recently. So they've done a great job and very successful. So we have to again, but in the college game that I've learned, even with the time I've coached at other universities, is every game is competitive. Every game is difficult. You have to come out and make sure that you're prepared, that you play your game, or else you're not going to succeed. So we're looking forward to it. And like I said, every game is going to be a tough one.
Of course, with Marine Marcher being a military academy, what has that been like, obviously coaching a military academy and having your players sometimes going overseas?
Yeah, it's very unique. It's a learning process. Everything from the way you recruit and admissions, and then the expectation once the players are here. They have a lot on their plate. It's we're building leaders here. They academically, the demand is very, very high. You have the regimental structure, and like you said, even the C year where they're sophomore and junior year, they're heading out to C. So there are challenges, but I think the type of individual that you get here has a really, has a hardworking, commitment about him, second to none. So that's the most important thing. And, they're able to get through the program. They're able to understand, how they're going to succeed in the classroom, but also be successful on the field. So again, it's an honor to work with such great individuals. And even though it is unique and there are a lot of different things here that maybe you don't have at a traditional university, it really is a pleasure because you're working with, I think, a small percentage of top level, individuals.
What has it been like, obviously, coaching at a military academy versus your time coaching at Division One or Division Two level of a civilian school such as Queens?
I think, again, just think the whole process here. Obviously, I'm still very new to the Merchant Marine Academy. We're still going to get underway now in the fall, first official season. But I think it's about the recruitment process and the hurdles that that they have to go through. Obviously, at a military academy and expectation, and then just really juggling and understanding scheduling. In terms of the classes they'll take, the regimental structure, the C year, all those things that they don't you don't deal with at traditional university. They're going to deal with here. So I think it's understanding that, which is still a learning process for me, and then making sure that you're successful on the field.
What does a typical game day look like?
A typical game day.
Mhm.
I think it really varies from we're going to have midweek games, and then you're going to have weekend games. Obviously, if there's class, but I would say a typical game day is on the weekend is they're going to have their regimentals, so they're going to wake up and do whatever it is they need to do. But if you have a late afternoon or early evening game, it's pretty much making sure that they eat well, that they kind of that you're prepared for the game. The day before you're gonna have your tactical practice, and then about 2 hours before game or before kickoff, they'll kind of come over and start preparing for the game, and and pretty much about an hour to 45 minutes you're on the field warming up and getting ready for kickoff. So really, but and if you have a weekday game, of course you have to deal with class where we try to limit the amount of time they'll miss in the classroom. But if they have to, they'll miss a class or two and then head out to the game. But that's we try to avoid that as much as possible.
Of course, what has it been like, obviously, balancing your player's schedule of being overseas and being on the sea versus obviously playing in the games?
I think C year here in terms of is very unique. They'll go away for months at a time, so you have to kind of have a structure in place. It puts a really big demand on them individually. They have to be responsible to make sure that when they're out at sea, that they're trying to, stay fit as well and make sure that they get their workouts in. They're very, very busy. They have a lot going on, so that's part of it is kind of understanding, how to help them, and then once they kind of get back into normal life here at the academy on campus, I think they'll jump in with the team again. So it's just really a balance of understanding where they are, the resources they're at, and then building them back into the program once they get back on campus. Because if they've been away for a couple of months, it does take time to adjust and get back into a normal routine of their schedule here and as well as their training schedule.
What are some of your future plans for the women's soccer program?
To build a successful and a winning program. I mean, that's the goal. And obviously again, the most important thing is to bring individuals who are going to succeed here. We're going to get through, the 4 years. We're going to have, very successful futures once they leave here. So the goal is to get as many, ladies as we can through the program, make sure that they succeed academically, that they go on to do whatever it is they'd like to do, be successful at it, and while they're doing it, have some fun and win some titles here for the academy on the soccer side of things.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped build upon?
Well, I think the culture is in place. I'm obviously very new, and I'm starting to understand that and what the expectations are. But I think the athletic staff here, everybody that's built programs, from the men's side, the women's side here, I think they've set an expectation. So we have to kind of meet that expectation. We have to, try to be successful, and that's what's expected. So everybody, it's an incredible staff here. Again, the staff are not only just head coaches or assistant coaches full time, but they work in the classroom, which makes it unique. It's an incredible experience. But we're going to try to kind of follow that, fit that mold and make sure that we're doing things the same way and that we're successful with the women's soccer program.
What are some of the game day traditions that you've helped implement?
I think hopefully, we still officially haven't kicked off the season yet. We'll start in the fall. So I think that we're still building that. I think right now with the spring, and with the mids that we have here and the team that we have here, we're kind of just training, getting to know each other. They have to know how I take as a coach, what I expect. And the same for me, getting to know the different personalities, the strengths and weaknesses. So I think we're using this time to really just get to know each other, kind of set the mentality, the expectation, and then we're going to build on that in the fall. So the game days and kind of the normal schedule of competing at a varsity level is going to come down in the fall.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes and even candidates looking to obviously play college women's soccer
Here at the academy, or just in general?
in general?
Well, I think it's the most popular youth sport. So in terms of even on, the men's side and the women's side, you have so many players that play soccer and that want to have that college experience. So it's a very, very competitive one. I think you really the thing that we speak about is just making sure that the whole structure of the academy or whatever university you're looking at kind of fits what you want, and it's a good match. You have to connect, I think, with your coach. You have to connect with the students at the university. You have to understand what you're getting into. So I think it's just we try to make it as clear as possible. We try to be very understanding and open, and talk to recruits about what we expect here. And I think that should be done around the country. Again, there are a lot of colleges, a lot of opportunities, but it's a competitive field, and just have to make sure that it's the right match for you.
Of course, as head coach, what are some of the things that you look at in these prospective student athletes when determining who is the best fit for you?
Number one is, I think, mentality. Someone who's going to understand the values, the hard work, the respect, and the commitment. I don't think that can be compromised. So you look for that. Of course, you have to look for here at the academy, the academic demand. You have to be a good student. You're going to have the right scores. So I mean, those things have to be in place. And once that's in place, and obviously someone's a good candidate, I think you have to make sure that they're the right fit. That their personality and their kind of understanding, commitment to the academy, to the women's team is most important. And then all the other the technical side of things and the strengths and weaknesses of players. I think that is my responsibility, and you work with as a coach. But I think the values and the ideas and just someone who wants to be here is the most important thing.
Of course, what does the official visit look like for those prospective student athletes looking to come up to U.S. Marine Marcher?
Yeah, they're going to get a great experience of what it's like to be here. We'll have them in, and they can tour campus. Now they can do overnight visits as long as the protocols are in place where they're fully vaccinated, things like that. But they'll understand what it looks like in the classroom. They get the hands-on experience. They'll meet the women's soccer team or whatever team they're coming into being recruited for. So they get a great experience. They really understand what we're all about, and I think that ultimately is the final part of the decision.
Of course, what is it like as a head coach seeing them get to put on that jersey and fall in love with the Marine Marcher?
Yeah, I'm super excited to kind of again be the first team in the fall to walk out, wear the United States Merchant Marine Academy jersey, to represent the academy. It's as a head coach, it's a very, very big honor. And I know everybody here, the ladies have been waiting for it, so they're very excited. And the recruits that we have coming in, I think, understand the mentality. So it's going to be a very proud moment. We're working towards making sure that everything is in place for the fall. But again, I'm very lucky to have an incredible group here that are helping me through the process, helping me understand how things operate here, being a new coach, and helping with the recruiting process, because I think that's a very, very big part of it. How your players, how you treat the recruits, and I'm very lucky to have an incredible group.
What advice would you give those high school athletes, those prospective student athletes looking to play college women's soccer?
I think again, having, for me, it falls on having the right type of commitment, the right type of mentality. There are a lot of talented players. When college coaches are looking for players, you're going to come across a lot of good players with different strengths and weaknesses. But for me, I think what stands out is the type of player that's going to fit into any type of group. When you bring a player onto your team, you want them to make sure that they're a team player, that they have the right mentality, that they're gonna, they understand that they're just a small part of something bigger than them. There's a lot of moving parts to the team. So I think, I always tell high school kids you have to understand that it's hard work. Don't get too low when things aren't going well. There are moments in your career, your young career where maybe you have a bad game, maybe you have a couple bad weeks. Don't get too low, and when things are going well, don't get too high. Always stay with a level head. Continue to move forward, continue to work hard, and that's my biggest advice, because I think ultimately that'll kind of land you in the spot where you want to be. That's the right fit, and when college coaches are looking at players, I think that sets a lot of people apart.
What advice would you give those college athletes that are looking to play on the professional level, whether it's the NWSL or a U.S. women's national team?
Yeah, I think it's, again, there's only a very select few, and it's not easy to get there. But I think if you the same advice I'd give to high school, when you get into college level, that's the next level now, and you're there for a reason. But if you want to continue to grow as a player and as a person, you have to be very, very open to understanding and I think taking accountability. I always tell players, take accountability, understand that what you've done well, what you haven't done well, how you can improve. And if you want to get to the next level, you have to, it's hard work, and you have to continue to improve, or else you're not going to have that opportunity.
What advice would you give future coaches and even future head coaches looking to get started in coaching in college women's soccer?
Say that again. I'm sorry, you cut out.
What advice would you give future coaches looking to get started in coaching in college women's soccer?
I think gain as much experience from every level that you can. I think, learn from coaches who have experience, watch the game, watch training sessions as much as possible, ask questions. I think working under different types of individuals, watching different, there isn't one answer. There's not one way to coach. It's ever changing, and there are a lot of different factors. So I think for me is having as much knowledge as possible, kind of developing your own style, but at the same time being open to taking bits and pieces of what you like from coaching or some coaches and what you don't like, because that's very, very important. I think year to year things are changing. The game is changing. It gets more and more tactical, so you have to be very open-minded and continue to work on your skill, your craft, and that's what I try to do. And hopefully that'll lead me to be successful, to be a good coach, and to be a good mentor.
What advice would you give future head coaches such as yourself looking to get that first start in being a head coach?
Same, and I think I think the most important thing is a respect factor. You have to respect, other coaches. You have to understand that the pressure and that the stress that people are under, and that you build connections. Even if it's you don't have to be best friends with everybody, but you have to respect people, understand what their strengths and weaknesses are, and kind of build those connections, because ultimately I think that'll help you, as an individual, help you kind of move forward, and that's what I try to do. You're not going to see eye to eye with all coaches, or even players, as teammates. You're not going to necessarily always be best friends with everybody, but if that is, if you kind of work towards a common goal, if you respect each other, I think that's the most important part of it.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with the U.S. Marine Marcher hat?
Well, we're about to open up. We have to open up a handle now for our specific women's soccer. So we're working on that right now. So I will get that out to you. I have a personal account, which I don't use much anymore with social media. But in terms of our the women's soccer team here, we're kind of working on that. We're going to have it out soon. So I just as soon as I can, I'll pass that along to you, and then we're going to promote. We're going to start getting on those things. I know these days social media and kind of that side of it is very, very important. So that's what we're currently working on.
Thank you again, Coach Carlos Mendes, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the head coach for the women's soccer for U.S. Marine Marcher.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Nice speaking to you.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Carlos Mendes, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the U.S. Marine Marcher.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.